Custodian Newspaper this morning. No insults and personal attacks. No peppery language and personal attacks. Bawumia starts his nationwide campaign today. And so the candidate, 2024 presidential candidate of the NPP, says he won't be peppery in his campaign this time round. So that's a story that the Custodian Newspaper is going loud on. Then the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagman, is urging unity in Apostle Adwoa Safo's family, and during that meeting he revealed something really interesting. He says, well, it wasn't Adwoa Safo who made him speaker, because the speculation went really viral at the time when that election was taking place during the hang parliament, that it was Adwoa Safo that did the magic for him. But he says he knows the business of politics too well, and he's certain about the people who voted for him.
Can I also say that while it may be the case that Adwoa Safo wasn't the one who voted for the speaker, that's not left for the speaker to say. Because once you say that, the game of politics is also such that once you begin saying that,
now they go and look for
what is it with Adwoa Safo at this time that the speaker wants to say she was not the one.
But how does he know who did vote for him?
Well, it's simple. There were persons within the NPP who had made it clear they wouldn't vote for Michael Kwe. One of them was on a radio station in Sunyani, making it obvious he wasn't going to vote for Michael Kwe. There was another person who had a few issues with the system, particularly at the period that Michael Kwe was Speaker of Parliament, and the issue involved his wife. And so he had indicated that, how do I vote for Michael Kwe and go back to my wife? So, if you are the NDC, you would know that there's the likelihood of these persons being the ones to vote for.
But they may have just said that and still voted for Michael Kwe.
The likelihood.
I also think that this will be helpful to Adwoa Safo, because you recall when she did that interview with Elton Brobe, pointing out how, of course, there was that simmering beef, if you want to call it, between the Safos and the Okois within the Domukabnya constituency. Of course, she had concerns that people were blaming her, that she's part of the woes of the party, and then it brewed into this whole friction, which was purported in the media. So with the speaker saying this, at least she can now go to the base and say, well, I wasn't the bane of the party. We're together, and probably could give some leverage, political capital to them to stage a comeback.
She said a lot of other things in that interview with Elton Brobe. She will have to do a lot of going back to the grassroots.
Some more stories here on the front page of the Custodian this morning. Minority slams government for neglecting nurses and midwives. They want them paid immediately. And our MCE issues unlawful mining permits to Galamsey. That's according to the royal family in Tano North. So they held a press conference asking the president to intervene and to check the MCE for the area.
Now, if you go to the news center, Bawumia begins 275 constituencies tour today. Ghana's recovery hinges on gold, faces high risk. This is according to Fitch. And Mahama talks renew strategic ties. This is Ghana, China. And financial squeeze chokes AfriWave. Telcos indebtedness, tariff delays, CD dollar losses threaten interconnection system. And Momo runs on one of the world's most secure data systems. This is according to the Momo chief. Today, there'll be a big Momo event involving the BOG, Imani, ISE, and they are talking about digital credits and digital assets, and it's going to be an interesting conversation.
It will be. Today a lot of people survive based on loans from these digital platforms. There's something I want to say, but I won't say it now. I'll say it later. The Ghanaian publisher says Bawumia urges civility, begins constituency campaign. Now, they talk about 275. I thought we had 276 constituencies. Sometimes we forget that there's a constituency known as the Guan constituency, what people call SAL, but it's actually the Guan constituency. Government deceiving nurses, minority. KGL hails Black Stars for World Cup spot. And then Tano North MC aiding Galamsey, that's according to the royal family.
Okay, we can do the Ghanaian point now. We don't know any chief. Just get out. That's the warning coming through from the national security. They're, sending that warning across to chiefs, politicians over illegal mining. They say, well, now we're cracking down, and we're cracking down hard. So, regardless of your status in society, we will come after you. And the National Security Coordinator's picture is on the front page of the Ghanaian Point. Then there's the talk about President Mahama's visit to China. We're open to that innovative business and partnership. Ours will be a win-win relationship. President Mahama on Ghana-China zero-tariff deal. In fact, I have my own issues with this Chinese zero-tariff deal, because if China is giving a blank check to African countries, can we meet the bill? That's the question, because I wonder what we really export, really produce in this country, to the extent that we'll be balancing off what China will be sending to us if we have a zero tariff deal with them. It's been my concern over the period. We wait to see how African countries will actually maximize this zero tariff deal that China is dangling across many African countries. So both must think generationally, not politically. Weak ethics undermine national progress. That's according to the Chief of Staff, Julius Debra. And Kennedy Japan promises jobs for certificate and non-certificate holders. He says we're too fixated on certificate, and that does not energize the base, according to him. Let's compete on ideas. The NPP was built on respect, not insults. That's according to Brian Achampon, who's calling for discipline and unity in the party.
Now, if you go to the publisher, lawyers confirm Lumba wrote his last will. 2018 attempted divorce document pops up. Bawumia rounds to 275, so 276 constituencies. Yes, with decent campaign. And minority demands full pay for health workers. There is big news for the poultry industry. Wafa's chicken for you to boost Ghana's agribusiness. This story says Wafa is building facilities to introduce a new breed of day-old chicks, dual-purpose chicks, into the market for smallholder farmers.
That's great.
Yeah.
We've been talking about the need to do these things. Yeah. In the past, we were always excited when we heard about Cape Vaz Banchi and Cape Vaz Ebro, in those days when we're done genetic engineering and come up with some of these things. And in today's world, surprisingly, I hear if you go to the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, they actually bid for these things outside the country, win them, develop them here, and send them out. Isn't it surprising that we have institutions in Ghana engaging in innovations for other countries when we need them in this country?
Well, the president
what we are doing is
research.
We're demonstrating that we don't need them. Because if we did, we would pay for this research to be done, right? No, Ghana government hasn't commissioned any of this research, so clearly we don't need it.
Well,
why should they not do it for others?
Aside for research, we need to find out whether that money has actually been released to these institutions. Because you remember when we looked at the research reports of all the universities in Ghana, realized that over 99% of the funding that is going into advanced research is coming from outsiders.
Yeah.
There is no proper, consistent local funding for research in this country.
And look, the director of the Institute of Industrial Research, at the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, Dr. Ejenim Boate, he used to be a lecturer at Cardiff University, and at the Butte building, the solar panel at the Butte building was actually manufactured by him.
Wow.
And he's here. Anyway, let's get to the daily guide. Cry the beloved country, we say. And Greater Accra embraces Brian Achampon. Would Brian say fear delegates?
Oh boy.
Anybody who has contested an election before knows that it's always like that. Sometimes you're going to campaign and the people say, what are you coming here to do? Please go, we'll vote for you. It's a lie. When it's time for the elections, Ahmed Swale killer freed, 4 caged over food delivery scam, and Mahama secures zero-tariff deal for Ghana.
Wait, did that story really say Ahmed Swale killer freed?
Yes, killer in quote.
Right.
Not there.
Okay.
The Mahama secures zero-tariff deal for Ghana. So that's for Ghana. When I go through the story, I don't see that it's for China also. If it was for China, I would be dead by now. But this is the problem. What do we supply China the most as a country? What do we supply China the most? Is what I am interested in. So it's not just about saying, we secured zero tariff for Ghana. But if you look at even the story, it talks about how President outlined Ghana's vision to become a global leader in green industrialization, announcing plans to partner with Chinese investors in responsible extraction and local processing of key minerals such as lithium, bauxite, manganese, and this thing, So this is what he believes the partnership would lead to.
Okay, so you are asking what we supply China?
Yes.
In August 2025, Ghana exported $209 million worth of goods and imported about $884 million from China, resulting in a negative trade balance of $675 million between August 2024 and August 2025. Yeah. Now, our exports to China decreased by 118 million, that is 36%, while imports increased by 83 million, that is 10.4%. This is according to the Observatory of Economic Complexities, and it gives you a breakdown of the things we export to China and the things we import from China. If you have time, we can go.
In fact, if you're looking at our highest bilateral trading country, that's China, no doubt about it. It's over $1 trillion if you're looking at the holistic figure. But my concern has always been about balancing that trade, because if you are importing more, your businesses are importing more from China, and you're not sending as much, your zero-tariff deal may not necessarily bringing any effect. That's the import of my argument. That yes, AGOA is dying. We are being closed up to in terms of the American markets and all of that. Yeah. But how are you going to take advantage of China's zero-tariff deal when you don't produce enough? That's the biggest question facing us now.
You make a very good point, but and that's why, to support your point, I say that the reason China isn't concerned that much is that you're actually exporting raw materials to them.
Yes, so we're exporting crude petroleum, manganese ore, aluminium ore. We're exporting cocoa paste. We're exporting rubber. We're exporting gold.
So you see,
we're exporting non-fillet fish.
Yeah. So you see, you're sending all these things to China to aid in their industrialization and bring it back to you.
And then we import large construction vehicles.
Exactly.
Insulated wire, stone processing, cold flat rolled iron vehicles, rubber tires, light fixtures, trunks and cases, tea, rubber footwear, $347 million worth of rubber footwear. So you export the raw rubber.
Yes. So so this is it.
And just the footwear is more than our total export bill.
No. So if I am China, this is why I'd grant you that, because for these things that are zero tariff, if you bring it to China and I use it in production,
I make more money.
I make more money. It's as simple as that.
So is it that we sitting in this room here, we know Ama, but the people who went to sit and sign the deal have no idea?
If I could just chip in with that point. You see, for every government, the utmost concern is about revenue, right? So if a government has an opening where even with the sale or export of resources, right, you'd earn more revenue or to gain fiscal space for development, you would go with it, right? So a government official will be very happy with that, with securing a zero deal, because then if we export more gold, we'll get more money from it. But we're looking at a situation where we can also add more value, and then we are sending this same rubber footwear you're talking about to China, for instance.
I'm even talking.
You can just imagine the situation as to whether or not China will accept our footwear as our finished goods and give them a zero tariff. That's where the real deal will be.
I am even talking about not even the signing of the deal, but the touting of it.
Yeah.
Right. The touting of it in news, cycles, and the president lauding this deal. Is it that he doesn't know the numbers?
He's looking at the revenue coming
This is the kind of deal that you sign because you have to and keep quiet. Right? You don't come and tout it as a win.
No, but you have to. You have to. You get more revenue from it. So why not?
Guy.
Let's get into
the deal. Is great. It would be greater if we're sending finished products of a higher value. Then we'll get more. For rubber, for example, we can do import substitution because there's a world shoe factory in Akosombo Industrial Enclave which produces those things. So you target these factories, you give them support, so they help you to substitute some of the products.
Let's go online.
We go to my Joe Online now. Ghana's oil output peaked in 2019. PIAC warns of sharp production decline, we need to start talking to the institutions in the oil space too, to let us know how we are going to increase production and maximize value from oil. So we have Petroleum Commission, we have GNPC, even NPA, Tama Oil Refinery. They are all stakeholders. Let's find out how we are going to get better value from our oil space. Now, US-Ghana deportee deal. International conventions must guide Ghana. Professor P.J. Etua speaking. Vice President adopts survivor and baby of Revoltibo tragedy. Donates relief items to families. Beyond this donation, I want the Vice President to take a personal interest in how to improve water transport across our various river basins. It's just not enough that these tragedies happen. We say never again, we donate, we set up some committees to investigate, and that's just about it. We need to put some money down and invest in better vessels to move Ghanaians in our river basins. So, Vice President, we are giving you a job. Do that for us.
She has to do that for us. She must champion that.
Exactly.
I know my professor will do that.
Now, if you're still on my Joy Online, IMF forecasts 4% growth rate for Ghana in 2025 and holds inflation at 12%. And Leukemia Project Foundation, Joy News Impact Makers Foundation, partner to build Ghana's first center for hematology and clinical genetics. And this is very important. We are in the Cancer Awareness Month, and we are not just talking about it. We are actually partnering with the right institutions to invest in the infrastructure to help us deal with various kinds of cancers. And leukemia is one of the first cancers getting this support from the Project Foundation and the Joy News Impact Makers Foundation. Now, government to bear burial costs for Okuma boat accident victims, Vice President speaking. And Krobo residents stage protest over deplorable Somanya Odumase Kpong Road, issues 60-day ultimatum. They should also add the Esuchari and Akuse roads. That's one of the biggest hubs for rice production. The road has been terrible for God knows how long.
Yeah, from Somanya to the Akuse Junction
but
and Akuse Road. Yeah.
We will always say that, we are working to produce more rice, but you are not working to provide better access roads for people to do the work.
You know, and talking about that, I mean, you brought in the rice production because I see something on, say, Adwoa Online, where the Bechim chief is urging support for Agric and ATVET, saying they create real value. So
True.
that's Nana Bwampombekun calling on government to prioritize and expand support for programs in agriculture, agribusiness, and technical and vocational education, describing them as key drivers of national wealth creation and youth empowerment. If you want to grow, and we're talking about these roads because they lead to production areas.
Yeah, but they will
invest in them.
Yeah.
And you see, what saddens my heart all the time is that when we were in JSS, for the three of us here who went to JSS, what are the challenges facing agriculture?
You went to JSS?
I went to JSS.
Metusela.
So we should do mechanization, a land tenure system. Look, we have been, I'm sure if we went back and picked those the present day books, the same challenges, and we're reading these things 30 years ago. It's the same thing. We haven't changed.
So Honorable Agboja fixed the Akuse Esuchari road, because if Erikopoku wants to increase rice production, we need to be able to transport our seed in, our paddy out, the milled rice in. Fix that road. Fix it.
All right. Well, what else is online this morning?
Well, I'll go to City Newsroom. Galamsey driving up utility costs. ECG, Ghana Water Company, justified 200% tariff proposal. African Finance Minister's Lord Ghana's Gold Board at AFDB meeting in Washington. And Esiedun Ketia says that his thank you tour is about gratitude, not politics. Now,
it's politics.
Political gratitude.
Politics.
But it's going to show he promised the people that if they help the NDC to will come and thank them.
Personal interest.
So the chairman cannot go and thank people who helped this party to win.
When the chairman goes around and says, I was in charge of parliamentary campaign, so I'm coming to thank you. And then the president was in charge of presidential campaign. My goodness, it is personal interest. Well, who doesn't know that? Johnson Esiedun Ketia wants to be president. We know.
So who? No, why aren't the parliamentarians who benefited from the campaign going to thank them?
They have done it.
And so he
at
is
the
also
constituency level. He is doing it with a national approach.
So this is the third thank you tour then.
He's in yes. So you see that actually defeats his purpose, because as for the president, he went round and thanked all.
Yes.
Then the parliamentary candidates in their own constituencies would do the thank you tours. They've done them.
The
But the
president
national
went
chairman
round to thank Ghanaians because he's the president
Yes,
of Ghana.
but the
The
national
national chairman is going around to thank his party people.
No, because he's the national chairman.
chairman of the party.
Yes.
So he's thanking his party people.
Yes, and other people who will be interested
And also
in
urging them, and also using that to form groups in support of Asidu Nketia. Anyway,
But to be fair, Asidu Nketia hasn't said he wants to be president yet.
to be fair, Musa Danko has also told us that when he started the polling, the people whose names are there, they haven't told him that they should remove their names. So we know those who are
Anyway,
interested.
there's
Actually, only one person asked for the name to be removed, and that was the vice president.
There's an interesting story we need to follow. Free primary healthcare to roll out by January 2026. This is the health minister. So January 2026, we need to get the health minister to come and tell us how he's going to roll that out. In fact, he should tell us how he's going to roll that out, how we are going to fund it. We discussed the Mahama case yesterday, how all those things are going to work together to ensure healthcare delivery.
Guys, there's something that I want to bring up, okay, because I heard it when the foreign minister announced it, that we are going to be building new, missions in several countries. And he was calling for Ghanaian architects to bring in proposals, as in, the designs, right? You guys heard that. But how?
No,
The rules in these countries, they differ, don't they?
They do.